Hey guys and gals, this is Nathan. I'm not quite sure what I'm calling this series yet, but this is part two. In part one, we had covered all the flats, and we talked a little bit about my thoughts on page rates, how I broke into the industry, and a couple other things. If you haven't seen that, yeah, click on that part one. It was a lot of fun to do. Today, we're going to start. Let me see. I think today I'll start first by kind of sketching out what I want as far as the colors. And when I say sketching out, it's kind of, just getting my thoughts down on the canvas here, the image, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just selecting Nightcrawler here. Let me see, I think that's everything. Yeah, there we go. And I'm just going to put him on a new layer and start up another one with a clipping mask. Again, I'm just kind of sketching in kind of what I want. I just have like a marker brush. It's like my hybrid brush, but I flattened it a little bit. Oops. Let me release that so you can see kind of what I'm dealing with here. I got like some good blending with it. Just reminds me of working with marker tips. It's not really relevant to this. You can do it with whatever brush you want. All right, so let me. So let's say the light source is going to be coming behind him. And we'll do that, like I said before, like a pinkish color. Ooh, that's no good. That's too bright. Let's go something like that. Yeah, kind of like that. We'll throw some little design flair in there or something. Just to give it a little bit more interest. Let's say if we have the background like that, and we want to have, let's see, what is this at 5%? Let's pump that up to 20% on the flow. I was kind of saying, I want to have like a nice dramatic rim light coming from behind. Going into his hair like that. Maybe we can have a little bit kind of popping through the side of the face. It'll help make his make him pop out a little bit more on both the sides here. Bring his head forward from his chest. So I think that looks good. So that, and on the arm here, that'll separate it from the leg. Again, help it pop forward. Oops. And then that. Get a nice rim going on his tail. And the main reason I'm doing this is just to check my values and see, what I might need to tweak a little bit more. So right away I can see, like on the whites, they're going to need to be a little bit darker for what I have in mind. So that's looking pretty good. Maybe I could even, oops, let me deselect. There we go. Get back on that rim light. Did I not? Gonna deselect. Okay, it's there. Sheesh. Let's go to my levels and lighten that up a little bit more. And then what I'm thinking is for a secondary light source, we could go in and say, you know, okay, you know, just kind of play it safe and say, okay, here's the white. So you can see how fast I'm going. Like I said, I'm just kind of sketching it in. And then we can say, here's the blue for his hair. Yeah, for his skin. So we could do that, and that looks alright, you know? But what I was kind of thinking is to punch it up even more. See if we just lock that layer. And I want like a nice aqua. You know, if we do something like that. I mean, obviously not that bright, but yeah, this red will have to be toned down a bit. And it would be anyway, you know, just because it's like in this purplish environment, you know, so it shouldn't have any issues, you know, just adding, desaturating it, taking some of that color out, maybe adding, you know, a little bit of blue to it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. But let me play around with that color a little bit. Oops. Deselect. Lighter. I think that looks pretty good, something like that. And of course, I mean, again, this is just a sketch. You know, might want to step back away from the monitor, you know, shrink it down so you can get a better look at it. And I'm digging that so far. And then for smoke, yeah, that'll be a little bit lighter as well. You know, we can have the have it lit from the center going out or something. Something like that would look good. I think the only thing I got to watch out for is this the greenish color on the red. You don't want it to get too garish or anything. Excuse me while I take a drink. Let's see. So, all right. So we have an idea what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and throw that away. We have a sketch. We have it saved up in our head. You know what our end game is kind of gonna look like. You know, kind of the same way a penciler might sit there and kind of sketch out the head shape and then go in there and add the lines. It's kind of what we're doing. Just kind of getting an idea in our mind of you know, what's gonna go where, what the finished product is gonna start looking like. Let me see. Just change this to colors. And these guys will darken. whites, we're going to have to darken a bit, we decided, and same with the red. I'm going to darken it, desaturate it, add a little bit of cyan, a little bit of blue to it. I think that should work pretty good. Might have to adjust it more later on, so I might do the rendering on a different layer. That'll make it a lot easier for us. Just darken these guys. So a lot of times when I'm working, like I'll start off on with my base colors, and it'll just be like a darker, desaturated color than what the finished product is going to look like. Just makes it a lot easier for me. I could just start going in and start laying on the lighter colors. Alright, so let's go ahead and deselect all this stuff. Let's do all that in one. So I got Nightcrawler again on a separate layer. And open up a new layer. Just do that for the rim light, and we'll go ahead and create a clipping mask with that. I think we'll just go ahead and still trying to think about. I think we will just go ahead and do the lasso and airbrush technique. You know, it'll fit the style pretty nicely, I think. It won't take us too long to do either. So first of all, we're just going to start making our selections for the rim light. That's pretty good. Let me get a soft airbrush for this. That's too dark. This one. I think that looks pretty good. Oops. I got some of his ear there. It's alright, it's on its own layer, we can just delete it like that. Because the lights come from behind, it's going to be a little different where the rim lights, in some areas, it's going to hit on both sides of the object. In this case, his leg. You know, we'll see a little bit coming off his butt here. And usually I'll go ahead and do my rim light first. It really helps when you're, especially when you're doing dramatic lighting like this. You know, go ahead and lay in your light sources as early as possible, and once I start having this in there, then I can see like, oh, okay, I really don't have too much left to actually do. It's kind of, you know, like a painter, you know, filling a canvas full of a color, kind of trick in their mind, like, oh, look at that, you know, there's no white on the canvas. I must be almost done already. Oops, I don't know what that's all about. Let me fix that. Trying to think about other topics we can talk about. Stuff I get a lot of questions about. I get asked a lot, if I'm ever gonna release my swatches or my brush palettes, and yeah, I think the answer is no. Yeah, I don't want to be like, oh, these are mine, I came up with them. It's not because of that. It's just I don't think they're gonna be any use to you. It's just stuff, swatches, like I've just put together over the years, and I might use them in certain situations, and some of my swatches I haven't used since I first put them in there. It's just building up colors, and I might see a color and like, oh, this looks cool, I think I'll save that just for whatever. Some of these guys you might see in a row, like these greens or like these reds, or it's just I have like a lot of different skin tones. It's not going to mean anything to you guys. I might have like, okay, I'll use this dark tone, but this lighter tone right here, I don't like that, I'll use this one over here, and then this one, and it's just too confusing. And I'm a firm believer, it's like, if I don't think there should just be swatches just for skin tone, just because just color in general, it's just always affected by whatever the light is, and there's no you can't just say like, oh, this is skin tone. It might be this is skin tone during the day, this is skin tone during the night, and I think you should have different swatches for all the different settings, or I'll tweak everything separately, depending on the what the scene calls for. So even if I might have, say, like these greens, I know that those work well together, but say like if I take that green, and then let me add some more blue to it, or I know maybe I'm not 100% happy with that swatch, so I'll adjust it like on the go, and that just doesn't mean anything to you. You don't know how to adjust it like I would, or what have you. I think it's always better, to build your own color palette. These colors, I like, you guys might hate, you might never want to use them. So same thing with brushes. A lot of times I'll just I might see one brush that I like and download the brush pack because of it. It's just brushes I never use. I just never got around to really trimming the fat, I guess you can call it. And what makes it difficult as well, as far as brushes, I can't remember, what brushes I got from where, so I couldn't give credit to people, which brushes I had created or tweaked or what have you. Like, it's just, what their terms of use were, what have you. I just have no idea. Some of the brushes I've had for years. So yeah, to track all that stuff down, I was like, man, I just wouldn't even know where to start. But I think it always works better, if you set up your own stuff. That's what's going to work best for you. I feel the same way about technique. I can show you the way that I do things, and that might help you, it might not. You might be you might have your own way to work, and workflow that's better for you, and there's nothing wrong with that. I encourage that. But yeah, just having somebody's color palette, or oops, excuse me, here, I'll kind of adjust this a little bit. Having somebody's color palette or somebody's brush, you're not going to be able to use it the same way that they are. And, it's just, I don't know, you should just learn on your own, and that's what's going to make you better and help you find your own style. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you know, most colorists out there are just using the same soft airbrush. You know, that's what I'm using right now. It's a soft airbrush. It comes with Photoshop. Nothing special about it or anything. And you know, so you're gonna have these tools as well. You know, you can go out and buy the same exact setup as, say, like a Picasso or Rembrandt. You know, but it's not going to make you be able to paint like them. You're not going to have the same experiences that they are, the same life lessons or what have you. All right, this is looking pretty good so far. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to go with my dodge tool a little bit. Just kind of, let me see. Nah, I don't even know if I want to do that. That's too much. Maybe, let's see, what color was that one? It was a little bit lighter. You see, like, I mean, even like these pinks, I'm just picking those. You know, these are swatches that come with Photoshop here. Let me just hit up a couple of these spots on the edges. You know, just introducing a little bit lighter color. And I just went ahead and locked my layer, so it doesn't matter if I don't have to worry about coloring outside the lines or anything like that. Alright, that looks pretty good there. Maybe I'll darken the white a little bit more. And that red as well. I just have a feeling I'm going to adjust it later on too, but that'll be fine when we get to it. Now, I have the Nightcrawler flats on one layer, and then I have my rim light here on a adjustment layer, or a clipping mask on top of it. So if I open up a new layer in between those two, you'll see automatically this is going to be a clipping mask as well. It's a nice little shortcut, I think. Now, to find the right color. So this is why I'm going to do my rendering on a separate layer. Most of the time I just do it right on there, but we're just going to do it on a separate layer for now until, you know, we could adjust it later on, and maybe we might find a color that fits a little bit better. So I'm just kind of hitting up areas very lightly. My airbrush is still set to my usual settings, 100% opacity, 30% flow, but I'm just hitting it very lightly. Just kind of sketching in, you know, where I want little splashes of color here and there. Letting my tablet, you know, do the work for me. So just using that pressure sensitivity a lot. Yeah, that red's gonna be tricky. I can already see it. That'll be fine. So some in there and there. Yeah, I think it's gonna look pretty nice when we're all done. Alright, so now I can go ahead and start making more selections. Too much. Deselect that bit and hit that a little bit more. It's going to add some depth on there. Let's do the hair real quick. And with the hair, just remember, you know, the curve of the head. Where, you know, that'd be like where the highlight should be. Yeah, looks good. Let's see, his nose is a little bit crinkled up. It's kind of hard to tell the shape of it. I think that's it. And then this here will be the nostrils. Yeah, looks all right. Keep on hitting every key but the one I want. Let's think about shortcuts sometimes. Brain might be working a little faster than your fingers. That looks good. Hit up the tongue and his gums a little bit. Not too much. Now this area around the head, we don't want to hit too much because we want to add like that depth, you know, where the head is going to sit on top of all that. So let's go lighter right there. That looks good. You can see on some of these, it's like this guy for instance, it's going to be in shadow for the most part, so I really don't have to go in there with too much more, you know, than just that simple little gradient that I just did. Adjust that shape a little bit. I'll cheat that a little bit. That's fine. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some areas where I have to go back in and tone down the color a little bit. That's okay. That's why we have it on a separate layer, right? And there's the train going by. Yeah, I record later at night, so I don't, get as many interruptions and stuff. But yeah, never seems to fail. It's not the air conditioner; it's the fire alarm. If it's not that, it's that damn train. Oh well. What can you do? Trying to keep an eye on the time, making sure we don't go over too much. And I think we should finish the rendering at a good time, and then pick it up on the next episode, and start some of the adjustments on it, because I'm still not 100% happy with it, but we thought about that ahead of time, and we had everything on a separate layer, so no big deal. Let's tone this down a little bit. There we go. It's awesome that computers nowadays, you can have as many layers as you want to and everything, and it's just I don't want it to be another one of those back in my day old man type of stories. But yeah, I remember my first work computer I had had a 2 GB hard drive. I just remember thinking, I was like, man, I will never fill this up. This is awesome. And yeah, it didn't last long at all. But I think back then, I mean, I think the most you can have is like 256 of RAM. Wasn't much at all. When they first finally started doing like gigabytes of RAM you can install, it's like, oh man, this is gonna be so fast, and it's crazy. Looking back at it, and it's like, man, how did we survive? But I think back then, I mean, there's Photoshop 3, not CS3, but 3. Was where layers were first introduced. So we would have, instead of working on layers, work on the channel. where the line art would be up on top, and then, or I'm sorry, we'd have, it's like our line art would always be turned on. Kind of hard to duplicate it now with all the layers on there. But this would be your line art, and that would be on, but then yeah, you'd just be coloring in your RGB channel. There was no such thing as layers. You couldn't have a flats layer or anything like that. Yeah, it's a lot difficult, a lot more difficult. You know, so if you wanted to do some changes, there was no such thing as a couple quick tweaks or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's great, you know, how far along Photoshop has come, and you know how much easier, you know, they've made some things. There's a while there where they're still trying to get the hang of their shortcuts, and it's just every new Photoshop iteration that came out, they just changed the shortcuts all over again. It was just frustrating. You know, you sit there and try and learn them, and then it just wasn't happening, so then you just have to map them back to what you had them for the previous version, and then the next version would come out and they'd fix some of them, you know, so they made sense, and then other ones not so much, and it's just constant battle. So I don't want to get too graphic down in this area, so I think I'll just kind of leave it at that. We'll blend that a little bit better, I guess. All right, let's get this little shoulder done. I still got to do his tail real quick, huh? Kind of have that fade a little bit back here as it's going behind him, and that'll help add a little bit more depth to the tail as well. Kind of same thing on the end of it. All right, with that, we have our rendering completed. For the most part. Well, yeah, the rendering is done. We'll just have to go back in and adjust it, make sure we're happy with it. Let's just adjust in the colors. I'm pretty happy with the rendering itself. Went by pretty quick, wasn't too bad. Just my collar is going to be coming at us, so that's going to be a little bit lighter than all this business. So I'll push harder. A little bit more on that. And yeah. So you can see, I mean, with that on a separate layer, you know, I can change my mind, like, oh, let's do it blue. That doesn't look too shabby, actually. Oh, goodness, here I go playing around with colors again. Oh, actually, I like that. That one. It's a teal. That's kind of how we had it. A little bit darker. It's kind of cool though. I don't know. We'll play around with that stuff in the next part of this series of me coloring Nightcrawler. But yeah, that'll do it for this part. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them here, or you can hit me up on the. Actually, I think we should start doing all the questions on instead of having to spread out. If it's like a general type of questions about coloring in general, then let's go ahead and start using the Facebook fan page. It's facebook.com/lummage1. It's the number 1. I'll put the link in the description just to make it easier on you guys. And over there, I just kind of want to start building like a little bit more of a community. People that are learning, they can all ask their questions in one place. You know, if they want, they can go back and read, you know, other questions from everybody. But if you have a video specific question, then yeah, by all means leave that on the video. You can also check out my DeviantArt account to see more of my work. It's lummage.deviantart.com. And again, I'll put that link in the description as well. And yeah, that'll do it. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, bye.